So what do these children look like? Okay, those who fall within the popular group are typically very pro-social, cooperative, display empathy and leadership skills, meaning that they lead playtime, they suggest games to play, they explain the rules, they initiate activities, okay? But also, if they're late to the game, they're very good at joining in. They can watch for a little while, pick up on the rules of the game, and then enter the game without disrupting the flow, okay? The neglected children are children who are shy, withdrawn. That's likely why they're forgotten by the peer group during the nomination system, right? They often engage in solitary activities, but it's usually undisruptive activities, okay? So, you know, drawing or reading or getting on with schoolwork, okay? It's usually productive in some way. Now, the neglected children, it's not that they don't have social skills or understand social dynamics, because if they're invited into the game, they can actually pick up on the rules very well and they can get on with people very well in the game situation. It's just that they don't initiate games and they won't join without invitation. Okay, they don't really have the confidence, okay, to join a game that's already occurring. They have to wait for someone to invite them. And then the controversial children are those who are pretty energetic and pro-social in many ways, very inclusive, okay, will include everyone in games, make sure everyone's invited to the party and so on, can be very good at remembering details about people. So there's good pro-social abilities that, you know, other children respond well to, but they can also perhaps be quite bossy or quite obnoxious. There's something about their temperament that rubs other children the wrong way, and so they're disliked by some children as well. But for the purposes of this class, it's the rejected children that we're most interested in, okay? These are the children who display very little pro-social behavior, caring for others, okay? And who display a high amount of overt aggression, which is physical aggression, okay? So kicking, biting, hitting, and so on, okay? But also a good amount of relational aggression, which is verbal aggression, okay? Which could be name calling, or it could be manipulation, okay? Do this or you're not invited to my party, for example. They often also engage in solitary activities, but it's quite disruptive, okay? It's not productive, and they can be disruptive during class time as well, okay? Often have outbursts, for example. They often have difficulties regulating their emotions, and they also will inject themselves into games, okay? But unlike the popular children, they're not very good at picking up on the rules, okay? They will disrupt the flow of the game, okay? Now, one thing I should maybe say is popular children usually have a large number of friends. They very rarely have one best friend, okay? And actually, there are positive development outcomes from having a best friend. You know, best friends fight a lot and they make up a lot. And so it's a good predictor of later good conflict resolution skills, okay? Now, when it comes to rejected children, about half of them have a best friend who's typically another rejected child. And the other half have zero friends at all, okay? So there's going to be a large difference between those two subgroups of rejected children. There's a number of outcomes we can predict from falling within this rejected category. They're more likely to be lonely as they get older, including across the teenage years and beyond, more likely to have teenage delinquency, more likely to get into fights at school, be kicked out of school, have school transfers, be suspended, excluded. For the girls within this group, more likely to have eating disorders in the teenage years. For both boys and girls, more likely to abuse substances once they're older, more likely to have suicidal thoughts, more likely also to have suicidal behaviors. more likely to have relationship difficulties. This is in making friends once they're older. It's with their colleagues. It's in romantic relationships. Okay, it's broad. And often difficulties in their career as well.